Good morning. In this episode, I am planning to bring to your attention the World GIS Day, Wednesday, the 15th of November 2023. Well, when I say GIS Day, what does it stand for? G is for geographic, I for information, and S for system. In other words, it is the geographic information system that is what is remembered, proposed to the public arena, thinking minds, and such other people in the entire world, where geographic data is considered very crucial for these days, including mitigating the consequences of climate change. Well, in California, there is a company called a software development company called ESRI, Environmental Systems Research Institute. And the town where it is located is called Redlands. Well, of course, it doesn't imply anything to the common red thing that Keralites are very familiar with. It is absolutely nothing related to our red in Kerala. In fact, the redwoods is another site in California, the redwood forest. So, red is used in different senses, in different places, in different nations, and different minds. Okay, that is enough for what ESRI is. ESRI came into being way back in the 60s as a software developer in the United States, and the founder of ESRI is one of the co-founders, or let us say the co-founder of ESRI is Dr. Dangermont or Dangermont. And in 1969, most of us out in India would probably not know about another American name which is very a byword in US, Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader is actually a consumer activist, for one thing. Number two, he was so popular by the services his company rendered to the public in the United States. So, Ralph Nader mooted the idea of a GIS Day with the co-founder Dangermont, and that materialized as an observation of the GIS Day. It happens every year in the month of November and in the 15th of November. And as far as I am concerned, what I want to do now is to bring to the attention of the viewer what is geographic information system in general. And this is the ideal time to think about and not only think about the geographic information system, but the practical applications of the geographic information system, its data products and applications and so on and so forth to the common good. Especially when you say geography in our parlance in India, well, it means a course of study, and most people of my age would have had some kind of exposure to geography. In other words, in my case, right from the elementary school days, the senior classes in the elementary school days, I had an exposure of geography, which meant for me those days only the drawing of Travancore maps of Travancore, and then marking the towns, locations, and then the physiographic divisions, etc., etc. So it is true. Geography is better than that these days. Basically, geography addresses data spread over in a spatial sense. That is what geography stands for. In other words, the geographic data examples are, for us in this context, our highways or our capital city of Thrivikramji, or the district headquarters in the various districts of Kerala, or the extent of what is called the Thrivikramji district. All these are geographic information, geographic data. And in fact, as far as I know, we have been keeping data regarding the geographic divisions, geographic importance, and it is taught right through the high school. And now you can do even a PhD in geography since the last 20 years or so. So geography has become a very important part of the education. However, the GIS or Geographic Information System type of geography is not taught, because for one thing, of course, it was not developed in India, no doubt about it. And even though we had very brilliant minds working in the IITs and places like that, and universities maybe, but they never thought of developing a software to store the geographic data, to analyze the geographic data, and then create displays or in order to make visualization possible. One of the best ways of making a visualization is by the medium of a map. We are all familiar with maps, but we are totally unfamiliar of the maps created using the Esri's GIS software, which is they call us ArcGIS. And now currently the latest version is available in the market is ArcGIS 10.9. Of course, I'm not sure whether it is available in India, but at least in the United States, that is what they sell. And Esri also says now they are not going to do this anymore upgradation. Instead, they are going to sell to the consumer, the user, ArcGIS Pro. That is the newest one. So anyway, let us look at the importance of it. For example, our current government, the current government, there is a Kerala government, there is a minister in charge of revenue, and he has been making pronouncements occasionally. Of course, the mantris are obligated to make at least one pronouncement per day in order to be their name covered in the print or television media, electronic media. So this gentleman has been saying that all the entire land area of Kerala will be transformed or translated to a digital framework for which the government has earmarked something like 600 crores. That is the reason. Kerala, with the 32,000 plus square kilometers of area, needs 600,000 crores of rupees to transform, to translate all the paper maps of your land parcels that belong to you and belong to me over to a digital form, digital platform that is actually a database which will be definitely part of ArcGIS enterprise version of ArcGIS. So this work has not been implemented yet, but unfortunately there is a need to essentiality for, or a pressing need for this sort of data, this sort of transformation of geographic data. As far as the government is concerned, in fact, in our country, for example, 33 municipalities of erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, all the data belonging to these 33 municipalities, they were all translated into a geographic database or an enterprise database which is geographic and the ESRI is the global leader in creating the software. And this was carried out by Center for Environment and Development, headquartered in Thrivikramji. And very interestingly, the Andhra Pradesh, the 33 municipalities generally had only something like 9 different layers of data. I'll come back to layers after a while in this program, in this episode. And finally, after the work, CED had created something like 42 different layers of data. And the highest point of this work is, this transformation is that the municipalities' combined income in the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, that rose to 135 crores. Because the software that will definitely send reminders. Those days, now you will get even messages and all sorts of reminders through our internet service. So similarly, this software platform also alerted the citizens about their dues and data payment of whatever that is due to the concerned municipalities. So that is actually very significant development as far as erstwhile state of Andhra is concerned, or today's Telangana or Andhra Pradesh are concerned. Then, for example, Mumbai municipality, Ahmedabad in Gujarat, New Delhi, and some other municipalities have resorted to this kind of data handling, storage, and updation in a GIS platform. So what it is it is extremely useful from the financial point of view for the governments or for the local self-governments. Number 2 is, another application of GIS is in the field of environment. When we say environment, it is the human environment, it is the animal environment, are all combined. In other words, these days we are under the threat of climate change without any doubt. This kind of climate change, as envisioned by the world leaders or leaders in the scientific field are ultimately harming the humans first. Then there will be a collateral damage due to the environment or climate change, as it is called, or environmental climate change. And it is very important that as a modern society, globally or locally, it is the responsibility of the administration to mitigate the harmful consequences of, or all the consequences of, the climate change phenomenon. Well, climate change phenomenon will cover, obviously, natural disasters like flood, drought, forest fire, and above all, epidemic. Well, we faced an epidemic 2 years ago, the COVID-19. So you might wonder how these can be, these menaces are these new generation menaces can be mitigated. Well, first and foremost of all, only gathering of data in a geographic style and then analyzing the data and then representing the data or visualizing the data as maps and charts. That is the surest way of communicating with the public, with the administrators, with the policymakers, how to go about saving the humanity as well as the ecosystem that supports us. So, environmental management, as it is called, is a crucial part of, or is a crucial part of the geographic information system approach. And it is a lot of work. That is the whole point. It involves huge investments. In other words, we have to gather data first. Well, we call this data geographic data in GIS parlance. Why is it called GIS data? Because it is a spatial data. Or in other words, it is your parcel of land, my parcel of land. Or it is the way to our home or our recreation spot, the road or the street. Or the location of the recreation spot itself is a location. All these come under what is called our geographic data. Well, when you talk of the geographic data and geographic data visualization, Esri, the company that created this approach, which is called ArcGIS, they have been selling it all over the world. That is one. Number two, these days, most of the universities and national NITs, as they are called, regional engineering colleges, most places offer a geographic information system based training to their postgraduate and occasionally to their undergraduate students. And unfortunately, those people who get trained in geographic information system is foundation, is applications, and how to train oneself as an analyst of the data. Well, the universities and colleges cannot do anything about it. Only the governments can do it. But what happens is, these people who graduate or earn PhDs, it is very difficult for them to land in a decent job. Definitely, these days of the gig economy, it is all project-based. But even in project-based job slots, the numbers are very low. That is the problem. Now, what sort of data we have, or geographic data we have? All the land parcels now lying with the state revenue villages, that is one example. Only problem with the data is there is no geolocation. Geolocation in the sense, in other words, it is not exactly correctly done in such a way that it can automatically be translated to a GIS database. In other words, GIS database, the fundamental geographic means not only the location, not only the parcel of land, but its placement on the planet Earth. That is most important. That aspect is actually left out in the maps of land parcels all across Kerala, or maybe all across India. I don't hesitate to say that, because we, like in most things, India is a late, not the earliest player. India will join only lately, because our concerns are, for some reason, not with the resources, natural resources and human resources, instead of something else. I don't want to go into the whys and why nots of this situation. Now, how do we get the data? One other important source of data for the geographic information system is from the satellites. Well, we have different types of satellites. For example, INSAT of India, that is a quote-unquote geostationary satellite. And it is parked in a high Earth orbit, roughly 32,000 kilometers from the surface of the Earth, up. And of course, interestingly, it is located parked in the equator and in the longitude that passes through Bay of Bengal. Now, the best example is how if you did a mental check of all the antennae for our television, or in the ATMs, or in the petrol stations, all these are turned toward southeast, because INSAT is the responder. In other words, all the transactions will go from the location in the ground to the INSAT transponder, then back to the respective banks or whatever. So that is one. Then we have, India has a set of satellites called the GPS. GPS data is very crucial for the location on the Earth's surface of any point, or any point on the Earth's surface. Because all, 2 points will make a line. A line is actually representative of a road. And if you have more than 3 lines and 3 points, then you can create a triangle. So that is called a polygon. Polygon is the smallest form of a piece of land parcel. Okay, so that is also essential. So this is rendered by what is called a GPS. GPS, in fact, is a service for the geographic positioning system, and is owned by the US Defense. And there are, amazingly, there are 24 actively working satellites distributed in 6 different orbits. One orbit is parallel to the equator, and there are also another 8 satellites that just stay there, up there and work, but not get into our data set. In other words, in case some satellite temporarily is out of order, the controlling people or the controlling segment, people in the controlling segment can switch on a standby. So there are in total 32 satellites. It's a huge expense by NASA. And of course, it is used for several purposes outside of defense also. In India, we have a NAVIC system. It is actually a location finder, kind of duplicating the work of what GPS satellite system of US does. Well, former Soviet Union or Russia had their own system called the GLONASS, And unfortunately, for some reason, they decided to disown the system because it's expensive to maintain it. Well, the GPS is now available. You can have your location anywhere in the world, wherever you are, in your smartphone. And only beauty of the GPS is you don't need any kind of internet connection to receive data from GPS, location data. So that is a very crucial thing as far as the locations of objects on the Earth's surface is concerned. That is the final word about the location of the objects on the Earth's surface. And then we have a series of orbiting satellites, and they are in the low Earth orbit. In other words, what is the low Earth, high Earth, and medium Earth orbit like? Any orbit that is between 2022 and 20,000 kilometers above the Earth is a medium Earth orbit. So the satellites that are imaging Earth's surface on a routine manner, and initially started way back in 1972 June. Those days it was called ERTS, Earth Resources Technology Satellite. And it is operating in the visible spectrum of the visible part of the electromagnetic spectrum in the range of blue, green, red, and infrared. Infrared is not visible, but still it is included because it has a crucial role in monitoring the plant health, including forest vegetation as well as crop vegetation. So the good thing about this, what is called orbiting satellite, is that once it is expensive to put one in the orbit. But what advantage is, once it is up in the orbit, then service life will be like the service life of the solar panels or any of the subsystems. And solar panel is most important, crucial, because that is what provides the electricity needed for the satellite to gather image, store the image, and dump it back to the Earth stations on the surface of the Earth. Well, for example, the very interesting area of orbiting satellites, the nuances of orbiting satellites. For example, there was one US NASA satellite which worked for 19 years continuously, non-stop. And similarly, there was another Landsat satellite that worked only for 3 or 2 days and then went fut. So in general, the service life is of the order of 5 or 10 years, Earth years. That is what I would specify. And then what about the data? The data is actually supplied or downloaded in stations erected in Hawaii or in Alaska or in the state of Colorado, and then in the Diego Garcia, Central Indian Ocean Island, and the other one is, the final one is, sixth one is in Australia. Because these satellites are imaging only the Earth's surface features, continental Earth, 1/3 of the Earth. The water is ignored. Now there are water property, sea surface property monitoring satellites also are working. And the advantage is this data is available most of the time free of cost, free downloadable data. And for us in India, we can download data we can get the data about India from United States Geological Survey, their website, or we can have India's own data from Indian Remote Sensing Satellite and the National Remote Sensing Agency. And then there is a third type of thing called third mission by the European Union. The European Union has a mission which they have called, like we call it ISRO, that is called Copernicus. Copernicus has been active in this area, They have a Sentinel Sentinel series of spacecrafts, Sentinel 1 series and Sentinel 2 series, and they're always making their data available free of cost. And now, in other words, we have the data from the satellites. We just call the raster data anyway. And not only that, one of the other items that is heavily relied upon by the GIS practitioners is the data from space shuttle. In other words, all the space shuttles are, the program is now down, suspended. 2 space shuttles crashed while landing or taking off. And when all the 4 were working, the NASA had arranged kind of a imaging of the Earth's surface using satellite space shuttles, which orbited along orbits parallel to the equator, covering 60 north to 65 north latitude to 60 south latitude. And that data is now, which is fantastic, is available for all of us, wherever you are in the world. Now, in addition to that, there is a new, the Japanese are very smart, equally smart as Americans or any other smarter people in any other country, and they have created their own sensors, and they use, this is called Aster, it is a pair of satellites. And they are also given over to NASA to operate, and NASA had launched it. And this data also is related to elevation of the different variety of spots on the continental surface. And of course now we have aquasats. Aquasats are devoted fully to looking at monitoring and measuring the changes taking place on the watery earth, aquatic area of the earth. And now India is jointly with the NASA is planning to put in orbit a satellite called INSAR, which is actually will be sensing the ground. And advantage is the sensors are working in the radar band. I mean by radar band is it is in the invisible part of the spectrum, electromagnetic spectrum. The sensors are designed such a way. There is a L band radar and a S band radar. One of these was built by NASA, and the other is built by India. And this so-called INSAR satellite, it went to US on a trip to NASA headquarters, and not even NASA headquarters, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Pasadena. And there it was the final test and mounting of the NASA's radar was completed. It was flown back to Bangalore. It is undergoing final checking. And in the early first quarter probably of next year, 2004, this satellite will go up. That will be providing us and the rest of the world. That's what you have to say. Rest of the world, very far better data probably better than what space shuttles provided regarding topography. Or because in the space shuttles, they are using radar band, radar wavelength. Before I conclude, I will have to say that there is a visible range of the spectrum as well as a radar wavelength sensors. Radar advantage is that it gives a bare earth view of the land area, bare earth view. Fantastic, nothing will hold back the collection of data. No weather, no vegetation, no cloud cover, nothing will harm the operation of the radar signals. So that's why it is called the bare earth view radar data. And that's exceedingly useful for including defense and civil operations applications and the benefits thereof. So this November 15, what is called the GIS Day of this year, is a reminder not only to me but to the rest of the world and the citizens of the world and the leadership of the world and the policy planners of the world about the importance of geographic information system. As I am actually engaged these days with the Center for Environment and Development in talking about or in teaching and training students in the application of geographic information software based on ArcGIS 10.2. That is what we make use of. Thank you so much.